Good evening. Sound check po tayo. Kasama na natin si Ate Sonia Belisario, si Eric Dalangin, si Brother Buen Cruz, at Ralph Palmahil, Art Santos Pimentel, si Sagani Austria, Rex Flores, Roy Ermitanyo, Iris Lusticia, Beatrice Kaunan, Dory Resurrection. Blessed evening po, Father Randy, to all participants. Habang binabasa ko pa ito, mag-sound check po tayo kung okay. Masyado bang malakas, masyadong mahina, o katamtaman lang. My monitor says it is doing okay. Maridel De Leon Meneses, good evening, Father Randy, and to all, sabi niya. Si Felix Sumcado, okay. Si Albert and Freda Hemora, present, sabi nila. Si Amelia Viñas, okay po, sound, Father. Okay? So, feel free to comment kung nag-fluctuate. Tatapos pa naman ng bagyo at may parating pa. So, Carmen Cao, Berna Carmelo. Audio and video okay, sabi ni Sonia Belisario. Thank you. Good evening po sa lahat, sabi ni Solanya Ong. Of course, kasama natin ngayong gabi si Miss Bing Kasilag, also si Henilyn Cado. Okay po dito sa Davao, sabi ni Doms Ball. Sok Galvan Osorio, good evening. Terry Mateo Enriquez, magandang gabi po sa lahat. Rosalie Vesagas, Henilyn o Jenny, nabasa ko ni kanina, Polly Ereche. Good evening. Thanks po, Father Randy. Sound and image, clear po. Emily Ereche. Berna Carmelo, Grace Ulat, Gloria Viernes, Carl Calites. Mapagpala at mapagpalayang gabi po, Father. Okay, mabuhay kayo. Carl, nabasa na natin. Rosemary, sabi ni Roy, sakto lang po, audio and video. Okay? Marimela Bautista, si Alegre Ruth, can hear you loud and clear from Trece Martires City. Si Father Abbas Parehas. Yan. Nako, sa Mindoro si Father Teddy. Pagdasal natin kasi doon nga dinaanan talaga sila ng bagyo. Nasa Oriental Mindoro siya. Si Evelyn Rolion, sama namin sa Divine Word Seminary. Good evening po, sabi niya. Pati ang ating head ng Sacred Heart Parish Apostleship of Prayer, si Tess de Guzman, si Ning Liarenas, sound and gear, sabi, Chito Soriano, bumabati, Flory Salazar, magandang gabi po, Karina Ibanez at Tere Canon, Gloria Viernes, George Pineda III, Ito Banzon, okay, Sacred Heart Parish Lector, Brother June Buena at si Chari, present. Clear and okay ang audio, sabi nila. Chito Soliven, Virginia de la Rosa Mendez, Nas Diamada, Dolly Medina, from Sydney, si Helen Villalba Festejo. Batiin natin sila kasi wedding anniversary nila ngayon. Angela Collado, Dan Guerra, Florely Salazar and Luz Go, Art Bautista from Holy Family Paris District, Nessie and Pino Valencia, Linda Retorta Ifurong, bumabati, Valencia family, Jane Chua, at from Calamba City, Laguna, Ses Caldo, Luz Go, Gloria Ambay, Father Ronnie Crisostomo. Apakalayo siya diyan sa Christ the King, Dacian Shrine of Jesus, the Divine Word. Rebecca Santiago, Armando Seguis, is Bing Martinez, good evening, sabi niya, Tess Importante, Yvette Lacap, Pura Peñamante, Peter Poso from San Jose Manggagawa Paris, Montalban, Rizal, Jane Chua, Maricon Dupaya, Brian Biasaga, Ditast Africa, good evening, sabi niya, Ramon Villarante, Brother Ramon, Rebecca Santiago, Archdiocese of Cotabato, si Bong Lozano, taga Cotabato City, Mila Ramos, Corazon Villarreal, Suzette Medina, po ang sound, sabi niya, Deng Tenko, Marvil Yasos, Brother Larry Manzano, Mila Ramos, at Felicitas Batukan, Lavador, Invento, sabi ni Brother Roy Ermitanyo, greetings to the Bible animators of the Diocese of Cubao. Please remember, we are the auspices ng Diocese of Bible Apostolate ng Diocese of Cubao. Ben Cris, good evening po, sabi niya, Maria Aure, Maria Oldarica, Eva Aure, Edwin Dawal, Elizabeth Manzano, Mark Tan, Brother Larry Manzano, John Peña, James Belandres, ano po, Caroline Bautista from Malabon, Marcy Dalde, Gloria Tugade, and Rebecca Hara, Corazon Villarreal, Lucy Rodrigo, at Sylvia Flores, Christina Go. So, usahan muna natin ng Shema prayer natin. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahabta et Adonai Eloheka, ve'kol lebabeka, o ve'kol nafsheka, o ve'kol meodek. Ve'hayu hadibarim ha'ele, unikay masabveka hayom al lebabecha, ve'sinantam lebanecha, ve'dibartabam, ve'shibteka, o bebetecha, o blekteka, baderek, o shokbeka, o kumeka. Ukshartam leot al yadecha, behayu letutapot benenecha, uktabtam al mezuzot betecha, ubisharecha, sela. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. Therefore you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, with all your strength. Take to heart these words which I am enjoining you today. Drill them into your children. Speak of them at home and abroad, whether you are busy at rest. Bind them at your wrist as a sign. Let them be as a pendant on your forehead. Write them on the doorposts of your houses and on your gates. Glory be to the Father, to the Son, to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen. In the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So, shalom sa lahat. I hope you are all alive and kicking, safe and sound, and at hindi na nagkakaroon ng online diarrhea. Ayan. Kasi ang daming mga online webinar, Bible studies here and there, talks. So talagang mayaman na mayaman tayo ngayon ng mga pag-aaral, no? lifelong learning. Kanina nga lang, may webinar din ang butihing Cardinal, no? Si Cardinal Tagle, kasi head ng Catholic Biblical Federation. Kaya keynote speaker siya kanina. At ngayon, alam ko, si Father Alex Gumbrin, nasa kapitbahay, sa kabilang linya, meron din ata siyang Bible study. So talagang, huwag lang kayong online diarrhea, take it as a big opportunity sa lifelong learning. Siyempre, kung hindi bale, kung hindi nyo aantukin kayo ngayon o mamaya o dahil napagod kayo, the advantage nga ng online learning na ganito ay pwede nyong i-review. So, bukas o mamaya o paggising nyo o next. So, it's always there. So, do not worry kung medyo inanto kayo o naparami ninyo ang online Bible study. So, nasa session 14 na tayo. At tonight, the focus is the second book ng former prophets, the book of Judges. Pero before that, a quick, speaking of seminars na ganyan, it's darating na November 13, November 13 to 14, 2020, Friday, Saturday. Every year kasi nagko-conduct ng convention, annual convention, yung Association ng mga Biblical Scholars sa Pilipinas, Catholic Biblical Association of the Philippines. No? At dahil sa pandemic, usually nag-gather sila somewhere else, Tagaytay o dito sa Quezon City last time, pero this time dahil pandemic, it will be done via webinar. So, in-advertise ko na doon dito sa ating Facebook group. Those who are interested, just go to this website. No? May registration form doon, cbap.info. Punta kayo doon, makikita niyo kung magre-register kayo doon sa observer or guest. Pareho lang yon, observer or guest. So, may instruction doon. So, it will be on November 13 to 14, 2020 at in-advertise din doon kung sino yung mga keynote speakers. Ayan, lalo pa kayong madayarya sa dami ng mga talks. No? I think 7 to 8 talks for 2 days. Hindi naman dire-diretso. Siyempre, may mga break. No? And ito yung mga kasama ako sa magbibigay ng talk, and I will be giving a kind of explanation on the book of Job. Kasi ang tema niya ay siyempre related sa pandemic, kaya yung yung napiling tema ay galing sa Salmo, From the Hunter's Snare, and on God's scripture and disasters that include, of course, the pandemic. So, you are invited, is an open invitation. Kaya nga lang, yung iba siguro hindi makapasok sa Zoom, so they will be hosted somewhere else. No? It is also announced where. No? So, 100 persons lang ata ang Zoom. So, first come, first serve na lang doon sa mga nakapag-register na. Otherwise, it's alright. Kung hindi kayo makapasok sa Zoom, pupunta naman yan sa ibang platform o ibang page. So, it will still be available. Warning lang, academic yung presentation. Hindi katulad ng mga narinig nyo karamihan ngayon sa mga online na it's more of helping our own spiritual life, ganyan. Pero ito, intellectual discussion. So, kailangan naman yun. No? So, these are researchers na nagpa-present ng mga academic papers nila para lalo pang ma-enhance yung understanding ng Biblia. At most of us are active professors sa different institutions dito sa Pilipinas. So, ito ang mga speaker natin. Puntahan nyo na lang so that we will not have to waste time dito. Puntahan nyo na lang yung website. cdap.info. So, Book of Judges. Mauna muna, introductory information. Papakilala muna natin in general, comments muna tayo in general sa libro na ito, Book of Judges. Okay. So, number 1 dito sa point number 1, okay. So, nabanggit ko noon na mahalaga na i-identify ang isang libro o content ng libro, ang kanyang anyong pampanitikan. I hope that's the correct Tagalog of the literary genre, the writing form, the way it was written. Ano ba ang kanyang form o anyo o genre itong kasi by knowing it, in-explain ko yan noon pati nga yung document ng simbahan, binabanggit niya rin yung literary, ine-endorse niya na malaman so that you have a spectacle, meron kang salamin na mag-guide, babasa sa literatura na yan. At nabanggit ko din last time, nung diniscuss natin yung Joshua, na mahirap to treat these books as absolutely historical kasi nga a number of them are historiography. Naipaliwanag ko na rin yung ibig sabihin ng historiography. Let me just write na naman. Historiography. So pag tatanungin yung mga eksperto sa libro na ito, they will right away label this book as similar to a folklore. Folk people, lore, story. Kaya kwentong bayan. Bayan is the folk, lore is the story. Ano ba ang folklore o alamat? Nakasenter yung alamat sa isang bayani, yung buhay niya o yung kanyang accomplishment. No? A local hero at siyang liligtas sa mga inaapi. So, and we are rightly informed sa Book of Judges na the context is when there was no king in Israel. So that's what we can say about the genre. Pag pinaghahambing mo yung dalawa ng dinaanan na nating libro, Joshua and Judges, nabanggit ko rin din ito noon na magkaiba sila kahit nasa tingin ninyo ay continuation ng Joshua ang Judges, but it is not. Naipakita ko na noon yung differences nila. No? At sabi ng mga eksperto sa libro na ito, they think that Judges is more historically plausible, mas malapit sa katotohanan ang salaysay ng libro ng Judges than Joshua. Yan yung assessment ng mga scholars. It's more realistic ang presentation in terms of the wars. Okay. Number 3, yung salitang judge ay misnomer. Hindi talaga siya eksaktong, ewan ko bakit ginamit yung word na yan. Yung Hebrew word dyan ay shopet. O shopet. No? Pero ang judge or shopet is not a presider over court proceedings. Hindi si hukom o si huwes, si judge ng Quezon City, yung trial court. Hindi ganon. No? But more a shopet, which is the English word that we're using today is judge, at nung pumunta sa Tagalog, hukom din, libro ng mga hukom. So you are thinking now of hukom na nakatoga, No, they are more of a charismatic military leader, or better, tribal chieftain, yung head ng tribe, tribal leader, na mandirigma, something like dato, kumbaga sa Pilipinas. O if you are familiar with the Ilocano epic, merong dyan, parang ganyan, charismatic leader, warrior sa epic ng Ilocos, na ang hero doon ay si Lamang. They even claim it is a pre-Spanish epic story. But my point is, judge, the term judge, huwag niyong isipin na nagpe-preside sa court. No, it's more of a warrior, a fighter, a military leader, a chieftain, a dato, or bayani. Okay. So, clarification ng term. Point number 4 sa information introduction, there are 13.5 judges, 13 and one half na mga leader, military leaders, warriors, not necessarily men. Meron ding babae, may kaisa-isang babae. So, against the 10 tribes na lalabanan nila, no, nakalaban nila. And the fourth judge is shared by a woman named Deborah. We will discuss this tonight. And Barak. Kaya pag bibilangin mo yung it's something like should be 14 judges. Pero in that story, the two shared the heroism, yung pang-apat na judge. And the main, every judge o leader, meron siyang foe, may kalaban, may bida, may kalaban, tribes. And the most prominent, of course, is the Philistines. Especially, though you are familiar with that. Excuse me. Medyo nag-loose yung Okay. So, I hope, okay, gumagalaw na siya. So, ang Philistines, but I will not discuss Samson, yung main opponent niya na tribe ay mga Philistines, kasi familiar na tayo sa story ni Samson and Delilah. So, basahin niyo rin yun. I skip that kasi 13.5 pa naman na judges. Paano natin matatapos yan sa isang oras? Pag babasahin niyo yung libro, madali siyang masundan kasi meron siyang pattern. Ang technical term ng pattern ay type scene, sabi nila. No? May pattern na. Parang nanood ka ng sabi nila noon, nung drama na Pinoy, teledrama, may pattern lagi. Lagi nag-e-ending sa, halimbawa, ay yung may inaapi, usually love story, yung lalaki mahirap, inaapi siya, na-in-love sa mayaman, and then, ending nila doon ay maayos na lahat. Everything falls in line. May pattern din yung with a little exception, of course. No? So, ang pattern niya ay magkakasalang Israel, they sin, idolatry, apostasy against God, and so, what do you expect? Sabi ng libro ng Deuteronomy, if you do that, you will be cursed, you will be punished. So, the Lord punishes. Anong gagawin ng mga Israelita? They cry out to the Lord for mercy. Parang tayo lang. And then, the Lord listens to them. He sends a deliverer, a judge, a shopet. And, again, magre-rest sila ng konti, yung land. Then the Israelite, again, did what was evil. in the sight of the Lord. Balik uli sila sa dating gawi. So, cycle na naman, another episode na naman. So, pwede mong gamitin yung episode. At yung episode na yan, yung sa parang sa pinapanood natin ngayon sa television, may episode 1, episode 2, 7 episodes sa isang season. Ngayon, ay yung episode na yan, may pattern na. May type, scene. So, you expect na yung cycle ganyan ang mangyayari. Number 6, nabanggit na natin ito noon, nabanggit ko rin just a while ago, na ang libro na ito is a part of the Deuteronomistic history, and because, as we know already, it is based on the book of Deuteronomy. Parehong kamay ang kumilos dyan sa pagpuproduce ng libro na yan. No? Hanggang sa second book of Kings, sabi ng mga eksperto ng mga eskola ng Biblia, mga experts. So, at ano ang basic theology, basic principle ng mga libro na ito? Fidelity is rewarded, apostasy is punished. In short, if you do good, if you are faithful to the Lord, you are blessed. If you do evil, you are unfaithful to the Lord. You worship other gods. You perform against justice, then expect punishment. Number 7, the setting. Kung ang book of Joshua, sabi natin noon, kung it is historical, the setting is late Bronze Age. No? And then ang next period ng archaeology na age would be the Iron Age. At nabanggit nga doon yung isang general, may dala-dala siyang karwaheng gawa sa bakal. So, clearly, the setting is we have entered the so-called Iron Age. Anong age ba tayo ngayon? Pandemic age, or as they call the cyberspace age or the internet age. This is the setting, millennium before the time of Christ. Pero it doesn't mean it was written there. It was composed there. No? Experts say it's a long process of writing and really composed or finished or completed around 6th century BC, around the 530 or something BC. So that's 500 years from its setting. Kumbaga, gumagawa ka ng story about Magellan, about the coming of the Spaniards in the Philippines. 500, malapit na ang 500 years niya. So, ang gumagawa ng kwento ay ngayon, at ang kwento niya is 500 years ago. Gumagawa siya ng story na gano'n. Kinukompose niya. May mga resources siya, kinokollect niya, ine-edit, and put them into one composition or one narrative. No? And that was the time of the Babylonian exile. Ito yung opinion ng mga, hindi lang theory, but assessment nila because of the style of the book and the language used, including also the so-called cultural remains of the past na nare-discover, kino-compare nila. Like yung sabi ko kanina, nung diniscuss natin last time, yung archaeology, di ba? Kaya ngayon umpisa natin doon para makita nyo paano ina-assess nila yung setting. Number 8, the literary design or structure of the book. It can be divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is the presentation na ang Canaan is getting worse and worse after the death of Joshua. Okay.
And maraming problema. Yung pala, hindi pa lahat ng mga cities ay conquered. Nakita natin nung presentation last week. So part 2, you have now the stories of the judges following that type scene or cycle or episode. And then part 3, yung failures of the Israelite tribes, meaning the story spirals down to anarchy or chaos. This is a book that ends not in that you can makakatulog kayong mapayapa mamayang gabi. No, yung last 3 chapters ng book ay terrible, and you will see that later. Number 9, the goal was the goal of the book. Clearly, I think 4 na beses na binabanggit na because there is no king in Israel, because there is no king in Israel, because there's no king yet in Israel. So, the need for a king. So, yung last stories na nabanggit ko kanina would be anarchy. Walang chaos, no? Violence, dahil wala nang pinuno, wala nang leader. Kaya sabi pa nga ng mga ibang komentarista, yung libro na ito ay Book of the Dead, dahil nga doon sa mga patayan. Or kung tatawagin natin ngayon dito yung MTRCB, sasabihin nila rated SPG, striktong patnubay at gabay, o strong parental guidance. Hindi pwedeng basahin lang ito ng mga bata. It's scandalous. They will really be scandalized. And without proper guidance, sa bagay, nasanay naman yung mga bata sa games, di ba? Di ba violent din yun? Yung mga yung mga computer games. So what will keep them from reading this? Mas violente pa nga yung computer games. So that's the point number 1. Rapid introduction sa libro. Point number 2, ha-highlights lang tayo ng sections ng libro. Mahirap i-discuss lahat kasi marami nga. Marami. Even if it is only limited like 21 chapters, medyo mahirap. It takes a lot of time to explain them. So, yung outline ay nai-post ko na. You go to my website, fatherrandy.com. I have a website. You go there, doon sa sidebar niya, makikita nyo doon yung online biblical study notes. Nandoon nilalagay ko yung mga outline ng talk. Hindi yung aking PowerPoint. Kasi the PowerPoint is private at baka may mga error ako doon. Ma-multiply pa yung error. But really the ones that are reading materials. May nilagay ko din na sinulat ko in essay form. So, tingnan niya rin doon. Kasi may mga iba na sa evaluation, gusto nila may mga notes. Gusto pa nga ng iba, may exam. Huwag na. Ang hirap magpa-exam. Ang hirap din mag-check. So, and just enjoy. No. Okay. So, let's take the first judge. Not the first judge kasi ang first judge ay Othniel. Let's take sampling sa mga judges. First, si Ehud. No? Ehud. In chapter 3, 12 to 30. If you have your Bible with you, pwede niyong buksan o basahin mamaya. And then, with my introduction, I'm sure matutulungan niya kayo to understand. It's a simple story, entertaining story, but with some explanation, you will even more appreciate it and so-called see some of the problems there. Si Ehud talagang trickster siya. We we have the original trickster sa Biblia, si Jacob, no? But si Ehud ay a judge, but he is presented there as trickster. Bago natin i-judge, tignan muna natin. Sabi, kaliwete siya. He's a left-handed. And if you're a left-handed in the Biblia, in the Bible, there's something wrong with you. Ganun din atang dati, pag kaliwete ka, parang there's something wrong. No? So, pero, anak siya ng kanan. Benjamin is kanan. So, from the tribe of Benjamin, Yamin is the, Ben is a son, Yamin is the right hand. So, kaliwete na anak ng kanan. And why he is why the emphasis of left-handed, dahil that will be a weapon for him, no? Kasi ang weapon usually ay nasa kaliwa, no? Doon itatago, pagkatapos bubunutin ng kanan mong kamay sa baba, no? Sa inalalagay, ini-strap nila sa right thigh. And so kung yung kaliwa, kung kaliwete ka, yung dagger, yung sword ay nasa iyong kanan. So nobody expect na nandoon yung weapon kasi ang warrior almost 100% nasa kaliwa ang weapon at kanan ang panlabang niya, pambunot niya. Anong gamit ng kanan? Well, tingnan nyo na lang yung some of the commentaries, but one commentary is even saying that the usually yung kaliwa ay used to handle the genitals of the man. Sorry for the word. Nasa context na nga tayo ng striktong patnubay at gabay, no? So the sword, the right is for fighting, the left is has a sexual innuendos. Ang kalaban niya ay King of Moab, si Ehud, oppressing Israelite. So they cried out, they used the pattern, pasok si Ehud, ang hari ng Moab ay si Eglon, the king of the Moabites. No? And Eglon ay literally, ang ibig sabihin ay pinatabang baka, fatted calf. Kasi very fat siya. Tignan nyo, medyo nag-discriminate na rin nung unang panahon sa mga overweight. No? And he was oppressing the Israelites for 18 years. So you can just imagine how it is narrated. No? Here comes the hero, no? Who is the left-handed. Nobody expects is left-handed. The weapon is really hidden. No? And it will be his secret. No? And Eglon, the Moabite, oppressing the people for 18 years, is described as Eglon, pinatabang baka, dahil siya'y mataba, very fat. So, and when you read the story, it is really filled with sexual and eschatological imagery common to folktales. Sexual, explain ko, anong eschatological? Dirty joke, yung toilet humor na sinasabi natin. Yan ibig sabihin ng eschatology. Di ba minsan, yung mga show, yung afternoon, noontime show, na sesensor sila kasi masyadong malaswa, masyadong toilet humor yung pinagsasabi nila. So, eschatological ang tawag doon. No? So, you can just imagine, if you are reading plainly the story without explanation, you think you are being entertained, pero it's really full of scatological humor and sexual innuendos. So, pasok si Ehud doon sa kwarto ng hari. You don't expect two men to be in one room. That there's something there. So, Ehud, sabi ni Ehud, I have a message for you, O king. And the king stupidly orders everyone, get out. Sabi niya, lumabas kayo lahat. Except Ehud. So, anong gagawin nila? Ba't hindi niya pa kagwardya? Pwede niya mang ibulong o pwede sabihin. Sabihin mo kung anong gusto mong sabihin. But he sent them away. So, para sila lang dalawa. So, this is something wrong with Eglon, the king. No? And so, sabi pa ganito, Ehud came to him as Eglon was sitting alone in his cool roof chamber, private room. Sabihin na lang natin, private room. Kasi may sala sila. Remember yung 4 rooms ng Israelite typical house as described by archaeologists, and there is the upper chamber, private na private. Yun, no? Sino ba naman ang may pagka-tidi ang itong hari na ito na papalabasin niya lahat ng mga gwardya niya para papasukin ang hindi kaaway, no? Ehud reached his left hand with his left hand, the hand for handling genitals. Akala siguro ng hari ay may mangyayari sa kanilang dalawa, but Ehud took his sword from his right thigh and thrust it into Eglon's belly. You can just imagine the sexual innuendo here. The hilt, pati yung hawakan ng dagger, pumasok doon sa kanyang fat, and the fat, doon sa kanyang bituka, tiyan, and the fat closed over the blade. Sabi ng isang Jewish commentator, the image is of a perverse intercourse. You can take it or leave it. That's how a Jewish commentator sees the story na may sexual innuendo. And anong nangyari? Lumabas yung girt o bowel. Sabi ko na nga ba, toilet humor. Lumabas yung mabawang ano ng hari. So, and the king defecates. There is an emission, but again, a sexual kind of wrong. So, siguro pag nung ikinekwento ito sa mga Israelita na talong-talo sa giyera, dahil kung Babylonian exile man yan, wala na silang lupa, wala na silang hari, wala na silang mga leader. They are in the Babylonian exile, depressed and depressed. So they are being entertained by these stories of the past, of this king of Moab who was very fat, like this, like that. And here comes Ehud, the warrior, the judge, no, left-handed, pero yeah. So that's the point of that. So Ehud's servants, believing that the king is relieving himself, avoid entering and thus permit Ehud to escape. They waited until they were utterly at a loss, but when he still did not open the doors of the roof chamber, they took the key and opened them, and there lay their Lord dead on the floor. This is a portrait of an artist in 1908. It's Ehud. Notice how the artist portrait. Nakatingin si Ehud doon sa kaliwang kamay ni Ehud. Nakatingin ang hari doon sa kaliwa. Nandito yung weapon. Not expecting na yung weapon ay nandito sa kabila. Okay. Second of the judge that we're to talk about, Deborah, which you will find in chapters 4 to 5. Okay. Let me check first kung buhay pa ang mga kasama natin. Okay. Still on. No problem. No problem with the voice, sound, and okay. Now, okay. Sabi ni Doc Piloraong, bowel could mean the intestines, not the excreta. Well, that is in English. Doc Ong. The one in Hebrew is really the excrements. Okay, introduction to Deborah. It is said that she is a judge doing her under her palm tree, whatever the meaning of that. Usually wisdom comes from staying under the tree. Who is that person that's under the fig tree? And of course, that's Nathaniel. And a judge presiding before military problems arise. Most translators render chapter 4.1 na si Deborah ay wife of Lapidoth. Kaso no such characters appear. Ang wife kasi sa Hebrew is the same word for woman. So, mas tama yung isang translation na it's not talking about the husband of Deborah, pero what kind of woman she was. A woman of flames. Lapidoth is flames. Nagbaga o apoy. No? Nagbabaga, apoy. Flames. So, wife of flames, which is more correct kasi yung partner niya, si Barak, means lightning. Kidlat. Si Kidlat Barak. So, a better translator is woman of flames, which complements the name of her general, Barak. Her relationship to Barak complicates gender roles. Makikita nyo dito na yung woman is dictating going against conventions nung pagtingin nila sa babae ng unang panahon na nanay, nasa tahanan, na just raising the children, or cooking, or what, baking, or what. No? Pero here, you will notice in this story, the challenging of many conventions na nakasanayan nila tungkol sa babae. So, tingnan nyo na lang na si Barak is the general. Lumapit sila kay Deborah. So, si Deborah naman na lady judge, no, ay sabi niya kay na si Barak ang mamumuno. No? Kaso, Barak refuses. Kaya sabi niya, if you go with me, I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go. What kind of general is that? So, makikita nyo, the challenging of the convention ng pagtingin nila sa mga babae noong unang panahon. Itong general na Barak, hindi siya pupunta kung hindi sa samahan ng babae na si Deborah. No? Now, Deborah agrees, but at the price of his honor. Sige, papayag ako. Pero, sabi niya, the road on which you are going will not lead to your glory. For the Lord will sell the enemy, ang kanilang kalaban ay si Sisera, into the hand of a woman. Sige, sasama ako sa iyo, pero I assure you, sabi niya, na yung kalaban natin, na si Sisera, she will be defeated, not by you, General Barak, but by a woman. So, initial understanding mo dito, akala mo si Deborah ang woman dito. No. There's another woman will be introduced in the story. And the woman is Jael or Yael in Hebrew, the second mother. Yael or Jael is married, sabi doon, to a certain Kenite named Heber. Yung mga Kenites usually are, they have no good relations with the Jews, and maybe there is a relationship with them coming from Cain or the Kenites. So, Heber is like that, pero hindi natin kilala kung saan galing tribo si Yael. And the Kenites, nakipag-deal sila sa mga kaaway ng Israel. They are not, so their loyalty to Israel is questionable, because they form an agreement, made an agreement to help each other doon sa kanilang kalaban, and Jael is married to Heber. So you do not know kung ano ang loyalty ni Yael o ni Jael. Siya ba ay maka-Israelita o doon sa kalaban nila na pinamumunuan ni Sisera. Kaya nung napurso nila si Sisera, si Deborah at sa Barak, tumakas yung general, si Sisera, at saan siya nagtago? Sa tent na Jael at Heber, maybe thinking that Jael is with them. So Sisera, the enemy general, fleeing Barak, goes to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, for there was a peace between Jabin and the king of Hazor, yung sinasabi ko kanina, and the house of Heber the Kenite. So, but what of Jael? Is she Israelite, Kenite, Canaanite, to whom are her loyalties? Ganun ko kanina. And so, pumasok siya doon. And you know the ending of the story, of course. No? Jael inverts, her invitation is more seduction than protection. Ang ganda doon sa Hebrew, tsura, altira, sabi niya. Come, don't be afraid. Para bang nung tumatakas itong at pumapasok siya doon sa tent, o naghanap siguro ng taguan, nakita niya si Jael, and Jael invites him, no, in a seductive way, no? Tsura, altira, sabi niya sa Hebrew. And so, this is the translation. Turn aside, my Lord. Turn aside to me. Have no fear. Tsura, Adoni, my Lord. No? Altira. Don't be afraid. So, it's like a, halika, something like that. And like a mother, or like a girlfriend, or whatever you want, like a mother, she covered him, fleeing general, with a rag, and then the general said to her, pray, or please, give me a little water to drink, for I'm thirsty. So anong ginawa ni Jael? She opened a skin of milk, gatas ang pinainom sa general sa halip na wine, and gave him a drink, and like a mother, covered him. Lagay niya dun sa loob ng kumot, at parang nanay na nilulubay, pinapatulog. So then the wife of Heber took a tent peg and went softly to him and drove the peg into the temple until it went down into the ground, as he was lying fast asleep from weariness. So he died, murdered, betrayed by Jael. Parang napanood nyo na ito sa mga sine, di ba? Yung, usually, a woman of working sa mga bar, ganyan, dadalhin ng ano, yung pala, siya pala ay spy o what, siya pala ay agent o ganon, then able to kill yung enemy nila. So that's a motive that could entertain rather than could scandalize. No? So the imagery evokes Eglon's death, sword, and tent-peg, trickster assassins, bedroom demise. This is an artist's portrait of JL. You can notice how the tent peg is the minartilyo sa tenga ni General Sisera. And the story does not end with that. It ends with a poetry. Beautiful poetry. In fact, it's called a song. And it is deemed to be one of the oldest examples of Hebrew writing or Hebrew poetry. I mentioned to you before, the first one is Exodus chapter 15, yung song of Moses after they crossed the Red Sea and sinamahan siya ni Miriam, the sister, and the women. So, and then this one, sa chapter 5 ng Book of Judges, is a poetry placed after yung narrative of Deborah, Barak, Sisera, and JL. Now, let's go to the song a bit because it's one of the classics. Pag binabasa mo ito, you are led into one of the oldest literature sa Biblia. Dalawa yon, Exodus chapter 15 at Judges chapter 5. Noong kami nag-aaral ng Hebrew sa Rome, sa Biblicum, hindi pinapabasa sa amin itong dalawang. Kasi ipapabasa nila yung buong libro, ita-translate into English with na Hebrew muna, tapos translation, except, sabi nila, except 2 chapters. Exodus chapter 15 and Judges chapter 5. Dahil nga heightened speech sila, hindi sila narrative, kundi poetry. And alam mo kung poetry, talagang mahirap i-translate into good poetry din sa English. So let us see how it is translated here from, I think I'm taking from the New Revised Standard Version. The song restages Sisera's death, the general. This is Yael. She put her hand to the tent peg and right hand to the worker's hammer. She struck Sisera a blow. She crushed his head. You can just imagine the artist a while ago. No? He shattered the pierced his temple. He sank, he fell, he lay still at her feet. At her feet, he sank, he fell. See the poetry there. Where he sank, there he fell, mote dead. Sabi niya. See how it is the words are well chosen to describe the slowly falling down of the enemy. He sank, he fell. He lay still at her feet. At her feet, he sank, he fell. When he sank, there he fell, dead. The song mentions a third mother. First mother is Deborah. Second mother, Jael. And there is an unnamed mother, the mother of Sisera. Out of the window, she peered. So, hinihintay niya ang kanyang anak na si Sisera, General Sisera, sa bahay nila. Out of the window, nakadungaw siya doon sa window, hinihintay. No? The mother of Sisera gazed through the lattice. Why is his chariot so long, no, in coming? Why tarry the hoofbeats of his chariots? So, bakit yung kanyang karwahe? No? Ito lang Tagalog niya. Itong ina ni Sisera ay naroon sa bintana, naiinip, di mapakali, nagtatanong na may luha. Wow, yung Tagalog talagang pinoetry niya talaga. Bakit kaya hanggang ngayon ay wala pa ang binata, kabayo at karwahe, siya'y para-parang nawawala. So hinihintay niya ang pagdating ng kanyang anak. Notice that this is the first time that we mention of chariot with iron, made of iron, so indicating the Iron Age. Sisera's mother senses, but mistakenly the reason. Senses the reason, pero mali yung instinct niya. Hindi niya akalain na mamamatay ang kanyang anak. General, he is oppressing the Israelites for many, many years. General, are they not finding and dividing the spoils? Sabi, siguro na-delay sila dahil pinaghati-hatian nila ang mga samsam doon sa gyera. No? A girl or two for every man. Pag gyera kasi, yung mga babae, mababasa nyo rin yan sa later on doon sa story in the book of Judges, na yung mga babae, ginagawa nilang either slaves, force them to be wives. No? Pag natalo sa gyera, yung tribo ninyo, yung mga babae, kukunin nila. So, a girl or two for every man, spoil of dyed stuffs for Sisera. So, yung mga samsam, yung mga spoils, plunders, 2 pieces of dyed work, embroidered for my neck as a spoil. Oh, may regalo pa siya, may pasalubong sa kanyang nanay. So, nagtatagal marahil siya sa paghahanap ng samsam nila para sa isang kawal, isang babae o dalawa, mamahaling kasuotan para sa inang reyna, meaning the mother of Sisera, at magarang kagayakan naman para sa kanya. And before the song moves us to feel too much for the mother, baka naman ng simpati nyo mapunta na doon sa kay Sisera, the song ends. So perish all your enemies, O Lord, but may those who love you be like the sun rising in its might. Be'ohabav, ketset hashemes, big burato. That's the ending of the poetry. One of the oldest poetry in the Bible. Even writing. So, concluding remarks. The story of Deborah challenges conventions sa military, gender, motherhood. Nakita nyo, you don't expect them to behave that way. Mothers are stereotyped. Women are stereotyped to behave this way sa Biblia. But here, in this story, they, out of conventions, yung ikinilos nila. You have a woman na military leader, katulad ni Gabriela Silang, Gabriela Carino Silang, dahil kababayan namin, at pareho kaming Carino, and we claim to be the great-great-great-grandmother. Anyway, gender, okay, challenging yung gender roles, and of course, motherhood. Motherhood, like JL, no? Expect her to be a mother, but she's a different kind of mother. She is a mapanganib na ina. So, third and the last, anong oras na? Alas 9 na, tama-tama. Third and the last, Jephthah, chapter 11. Jephthah is not a woman, is a man. That's the name of a man. Let me check kung okay pa. Video and audio okay from my end, sabi ni Rosemary. Problem with connection. May hang po, Father Landy. Di ba pag mag-hang, huwag kayong mag-alala. Huwag lang maputol. Yung hang kasi, i-refresh nyo lang yan, babalik din. As per experience. No? Okay. So, mag-comment kayo kung okay pa o nag-hang na ako, katulad nung nasa tent na ako, baka nasa loob na ako ng tent ni JL. No? Please comment kung okay pa yung sound kasi yung monitor nag-off uli. Okay? Siguro that's the time na nag-hang. Okay? So, let me wait a bit kung kumusta na ang signal natin. May nagmamagandang gabi pa si Sister Sally Navilos, Pampila, Laguna. No, dinaanan doon ng bagyo, kaya okay lang na na-late. No? But anyway, marireview mo naman. No? So, let me let me wait kung ano yung comment nyo kung nag-hang. No? Habang naghihintay tayo, kasama natin si Doc Nati Pagadot, pati si Carlo Lara, head ng Bible Apostolate ng Diocese of Caloocan. Okay, Judge, and he made them captains of may mahabang tanong si Carlo. Medyo nahirapan akong magbasa dahil maliit itong cellphone ko. Hinintay ko lang yung comment nyo kung okay pa. Nasa Jephthah na tayo. Last Judge, chapter 11. Si Jephthah ay hindi babae, ha? Isa lang ang babae na judge, si Deborah. Pero not the only women characters dito sa Book of Judges. Okay. Si Jephthah, description sa kanya sa Book of Judges, Gibor Hayil, sabi doon. Gibor Hayil. Literally, mighty warrior or champion, bayani, General Luna, something like that. No? Mighty warrior, Gibor Hayil. But, anak siya ng prostitute. So, you can just imagine that this guy is rejected. Walang inheritance, ibig sabihin. At yung tatay niya ay marami pang anak. Hindi lang siyang anak, marami siyang anak. So, was driven out. Similar to, you remember, yung conflict ni Ishmael at Isaac. He was with her mother, Ishmael, Hagar. They were driven out. And where did he go? Naging tulisan. Live with worthless men. Sabi nung translation natin. And ang judge usually is commissioned by God. Right at the beginning, he was called, may calling sila. And the Holy Spirit of God is on them. Sabi doon, the Ruach Adonai, the Spirit of the Lord, is upon them. No? But in the case of Jephthah, is the people, the town leader, na lumapit sa kanya para tulungan sila. Dahil siguro nagpakita siya ng gilas na marunong mamuno sa giyera. So, he was commissioned not by God, but by the town's leaders. So, first, hindi muna siya sumabak sa giyera. He tried his luck by negotiating. Nakipag-usap siya, mag-negotiate dun sa hari, kaso nag-back down, pumalpak. And later on, we hear of the Spirit of the Lord, the Ruach Adonai, sabi sa Hebrew, the Spirit of the Lord, coming upon Jephthah later to legitimize his role as a judge. Okay. So, before he went to the war against the Ammonites this time, Jephthah made a vow. And notice his vow. If you will give the Ammonites, so not Amorites, but Ammonites into my hand, then whoever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return victorious from the Ammonites, shall be the Lord's, to be offered up by me as a burnt offering. Holocaust, ibig sabihin nun, burnt offering. So sinasabi niya, kung mananalo ako, laban sa mga Ammonites na ito, sino man ang sasalubong sa akin, pagdating ko, victorious, susunugin siya as a sacrifice. Well, sa tingin nyo kaya, siguro, sabi ng isang komentary kanina, nung binabasa ko, mababa talaga ang tingin ni Jephthah sa kanyang sarili. Dahil nga siguro sa karanasan niya na tulisan siya dati. So, he would never expect that God will give him victory. Kaya ito yung sinabi niya. Kasi, pag sa giyera, pag bumabalik yung mga mandirigma na nanalo, na victorious, ang style dyan ay may procession. Sasalubungin sila ng sino? Mga babae na may hawak-hawak na tambourines. Wala yung tambourine dito. Isang araw nakita ko, hand drums minsan ang ginagamit, yung tum-tum o tambourine. And then they sing, they dance, no? As the welcoming party. No? So, ang sumasalubong sa mga maunang sasalubong sa kanila ay mga babae. At sino sa akala nyo na sasalubong sa kanya, sa mga babae na mauuna? Siyempre yung anak niya. Sinabi dito na si Jephthah ay may kaisa-isang anak. At ang anak niya yun ay babae. So, he was really bragging, or he was really thinking that that thing will never happen. He will never win. Something like that, no? Because of his past, siguro. So, he was not so convinced, no? That ganyan ang mangyayari. So, kaya, nag-swear siya na kung sino man ang unang sasalubong sa kanya, which in the mind of the reader, in the mind of the people, in the mind of Jephthah, is no other than his only child, the daughter, na walang pangalan. Yan ang sasalubong. Parang very similar sa mga nagsuswear ngayon, di ba? Ano bang swear? Ano bang nauusong vow ngayon ng mga politicians, di ba? Sasabihin nila, papatayin ko si ganito. Kung may corruption, ganyan. Bababa ako sa pwesto. Ganyan. 6 na buwan, pag hindi pa matapos tong gera na ito, ng war on drugs, it's normal to do that, no? It's the other it's a different story kung tuto pa rin yun, no? But in the case of Jephthah, let us see what is going on. Kaya yung vow niya is really pabigla-bigla. And God not even ask for that. Wala namang sinabi ng Diyos na gano'n, no? Siya lang ang nagkukusa. Siguro, yun nga, wants to gain more worth and confidence and respect. Dahil nga dati siyang, anak siya ng prostitute, tapos tagalabas pa siya, nabuhay siya sa labas, nabuhay siya sa mga worthless men, sabihin nila, mal-edukado, sabihin natin ngayon. And God did not ask for that because human child sacrifice is not practiced in Israel. Practice ito ng mga other nations na nakapaligid sa kanila. Yung usong-uso sa kanila, yung i-burn mo as a sacrifice, susunugin mo as a sacrifice, ang bata. child or human or child sacrifice. Sa mga, meron pang ng Diyos, si Molech, na nabanggit din sa Biblia, na yung paborito niyang sacrifice ay bata, no? Child sacrifice. So, that is not a practice in Israel. In fact, that was stopped doon sa time ni Abraham. No? Abraham attempted, there was an attempt to do a child sacrifice, no? Pero that was not successful. It was stopped by the angel. No? So hindi na ituloy yung pagpatay sana kay kay Isaac, tapos susunugin siya as sacrifice. So that was not successful. So it could indicate na this kind of practice, even if it was done by the other cultures around them, should not be tolerated in Israel. So God will not do that. No? And Jephthah is just showing his inferiority complex and blames even his daughter. Kaya noong ang sumalubong sa kanyang daughter, ano yung reaction niya? Sabi ni Jephthah, "Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low. You have become the case of great trouble to me." Biro mo, siya pang sinisi. No. And the daughter of Jephthah, nameless, only child, she is a Bethulah, meaning she does not know yet a man. Sabi nila, Bethulah or virgin. And narinig niya kaya nung nag-vow si Jephthah, maybe publicly, you make a vow, na overheard siguro din ng bata, ng anak. But in spite of that, ginawa niya pa rin yung role niya na sasalubong sa kanyang amang tagumpay galing sa giyera. So, you can say that she is even braver than the champion, than the warrior. Kasi nung sinabi niya na, "Alas, you have brought me to me suffering," and sabi niya, anong sabi ng anak? "My father, Abi," sabi niya, "Abi, my father, you have opened your mouth to the Lord. Do to me according to what was gone forth from your mouth." Like the Blessed Mother, "Let it be done to me according to your word. My father, you have opened your mouth to the Lord." Siya pang nagpapayo sa tatay, gawin mo ang sinabi mo, pangatawanan mo, word of honor, palabra de honor, sinabi mo yan, gawin mo. It was the daughter, ironically the daughter, who is more brave than the warrior. Even if the daughter, it takes his whole life to be offered or to be burned as a sacrifice. The narrative may reflect the following: the worsening situation going down to chaos. Kasi after this incident, labo-labo na, magsisimula ang internal conflict, magre-rebelde ang Ephraim, one of the tribes, against the other tribes, and so internal conflict begins. And it will end with chaos and anarchy. Second, that child sacrifice is not to be tolerated. The motive in Old Testament narratives of a violent end of an only child or beloved child. You notice that na pag sinabi sa Biblia, only child, only son, or only daughter, or beloved child, tinatanging anak, bugtong na anak, and so forth and so on, you expect that the story of that child is not pleasant, meaning there is he ends, the ending of the story is a violent, like Abraham. And Isaac is one, although he is successful. Jephthah here, and the daughter, beloved daughter. Saan niyo pa makikita yung only child or beloved child? Of course, Jesus, the only son, the only child. And yung story ni Jesus sa the last 2 or 3 Sundays ago, the parable of tenants sa vineyard na pinagpapatay nila yung mga servants, and then last pinadala ng may-ari ng ubasan yung kanyang kaisa-isang anak, nag-iisang anak, beloved child, only child. Pero anong ginawa ng mga tenants? Ay lalo nilang sinunggaban at pinatay. So, there's a motive in the Old Testament that if you are a beloved child, if you are an only child, be prepared to sacrifice. That daughters, another reflection here, another possible scenario here, implication ng story na ito is that daughters who serve as pawns in the father's interest must stop. No? Kasi may mga motive din sa story hanggang ngayon nga rin ganun din, na yung mga anak na babae ay pambayad sa utang, as we call it today, pawn, no? sa interest ng mga tatay, no? Diba minsan sasabihin, ay may 5 akong anak, pambayad sa utang. So that kind of mentality nandun din sa sa mga stories sa Bible. Maybe this is a statement that kind of orientation must stop. So we have some examples here of daughters being pawns. Yung 2 anak ni Lot, yung the daughter of the farmer in the book of Judges chapter 19. And of course, the best example is the daughter of Herod na ginawang pawn para sa beheading of John the Baptist. Okay. So, concluding remarks. Ay, thanks be to God. Before 9:30, we can be over. Concluding remarks sa book of Judges. Sorry at 3 judge lang ang ating na-discuss out of the 13.5 judges. Pasensya na, mahaba. Concluding remarks. The episodes, yung mga judges, may preserve some accurate historical traditions, more than the book of Joshua. Sabi ng mga social scientists, yung type of leadership by tribal leaders in many pre-monarchical societies ay parehong-pareho sa narrative ng judges. Yung style, yung literary style, yung mga conventions na narinig ninyo, bago sila dumating sa monarchical state, no? Yung pre-monarchic societies, tayo wala tayong experience kasi we never had a monarchy. But you might be thinking here of Thailand, bago dumating ang monarchy. You might be manood lang kayo sa mga Vikings na ganyan, bago dumating ang mga yung style ng narrative is you can find those stories sa mga tribal leaders. So that adds to the plausibility ng pagka-historical in some of the stories here. Then another remark would be the imperfectness of the judges. You notice, only Othniel is okay sa mga judges. As the narrative progresses, they become worse and worse. Worse and worse yung mga judges as the narrative progresses. Yung unang judge lang ang matino-tino, and that is Othniel. Hindi ko na diniscuss dahil matino siya. No? And Judge Othniel comes from the south. The center of the south is Jerusalem. The rest, they come from the north. So siguro yung writer ay talagang taga-south. No? Or that only the leader, a good leader, should come from the south. Only Judean leadership. Judah is the south, kingdom of the south, Judah. later on, the center of the kingdom of the south is called Kingdom of Judah, is okay. And it is preparing us for the story of David, who would come from the south. He would be born in Bethlehem and a king in Jerusalem, in the south. So the book ends with anarchy, chapters 19 to 21, gruesome and bizarre massacre. You can read that with a lot of for adults only in your mind. No? Anong nangyari? There was a Levite. Meron siyang concubine. Usong-usong concubine. There is no problem. Polygamy ang society. They came from the south, tortured yung concubine, gang rape by the men from the north, especially from the territory of Benjamin in Gibeah. They wanted to, sabi nung nag-host, sabi yung matanda na farmer, doon sa nagustuhan nila yung concubine ng Levite, yung anak ko na lang, sabi niya, yun na naman, yung the motive of the daughter being a pawn sa interest ng father. Kaso wala pa rin. O yung dalawang anak ni Lot noon na isasacrifice para lang igalang yung mga dalawang bisita ni Lot bago yung Sodom and Gomorrah sa libro ng Genesis. So, hindi they were not satisfied with that, so they got the lady, the woman, and gang rape, tortured and gang rape her. Nilagay sa harap ng bahay ng Levite. Nung kinabukasan, nakita ng Levite yung concubine. Anong ginawa niya? Sa halip na maawa, he cut the lady into 12 pieces and sends them to the tribes of Israel. Parang chop-chop lady doon sa sine. Meron doon dati, chop-chop lady. So, bakit niya ginawa yun? Para magalit yung mga other tribes to wage war against the Benjaminites, against the tribe of Benjamin. So, I think meron yan. This is the artist portrait ni Gustave Doré of, this is the Levite, and then the concubine na icha-chop-chop niya into pieces. It's bizarre. No? And so, the rest of the tribes, they waged war against the tribe of Benjamin. Tribal war begins. And in the war, women were forced to marry, and the Benjaminites were cursed. And the last verse of the book of Judges, in those days, there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in their own eyes. Yun yung last verse ng book of Judges, book of the dead. It's anarchy, chaos. It's not a good ending ayong gabi. And the irony of it is that yung unang hari na mapapag-aralan natin in the coming weeks ay galing sa tribe ng Benjamin. And specifically sa place nung mga lalaki who abused the woman sa Gibeah. And that person is Saul. So, stay safe and see you next week. Ayan. Sorry, lumalampas tayo sa oras. Thank you very much, Sue Nelias from Rome. Kasama natin ngayong gabi. Si Bing Castro from Mandaluyong. I hope okay pa ito. Si Minnie Vargas. Marvil Yasos. No? Okay naman, may konting poses pero natutuloy naman. Sabi ni Amelia Binyas. Sabi ni Minor, ano na ang equivalent sa mga judges ngayon? Ayan. So, ito nang ending natin. I hope you are okay. So, thank you very much, and see you next week. God bless you, and may the Blessed Mother keep you away from all harm and evil.